Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, thank you for showing up. And we have got to talk about how the ATF got another bloody nose, this time for 2 weeks, but it could be longer pretty soon. We are, of course, talking about a TRO that was dealt around the whole John Cornyn special, i.e. the dealers who are engaged in the business of firearms. You, if you sold one gun, it got smoked, Tim. This is a day that we are very happy to see, and I'm just excited about this one. So, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. With that, Tim, oh, you love to see it, don't you, man?
I do. The courts have been so busy because the anti-gunners have been so busy themselves, but, with the recent incursion into the ATF with Biden's administration and, Diddlebum and all the crazy stuff they're doing, they've really tried to flip the agency upside down. They're just going hog wild before the election, it seems. Every crazy thing that they ever wanted to do legislatively, they couldn't do. They can hopefully try to do through executive fiat or using Diddlebum's, pin strokes they're trying to do. And the GOA got this shut down. Now, going forward, this just covers GOA members at the moment, right?
Well, it's a few different things. We're going to walk into that right now because there's a few people it does, the people it doesn't. But more importantly, I want to really highlight what you just said. GOA is the one that secured this. I mean, get credit where credit's due. When other groups do it, we do it. GOA did this one. Yep. I mean, legit, they get the credit. So this is the tweet from Gun Owners Foundation, which is a sister organization to GOA. Judge Kaczmarek partially granted our request for a nationwide temporary restraining order against the ATF's Universal Registration Check rule. Officially, our victory protects Texans, GOA, GOF, VCDL, and TFA members for now. I'm going to break down all those acronyms in a second. So where we're at right now is a partial granting of a 2-week temporary restraining order. Okay, so this is a win. This is not a dead in the ground, nail the coffins, cover it with dirt win. This is like, okay, we're making progress. That's how I would gauge this.
Right. Well, what this basically says is that the courts agree that there have been injured parties here, that something the ATF has done is questionable to the point of harming, having real harm, against American citizens. And so the court stepped in and did what they could. It's not something that gun owners goes in and says, hey, can you only cover Texans, GOA, GOF? Right. They go in and they fight these battles, and then the courts will say, well, you're the one that brought the case, so you and the people you represent are therefore covered under this injunction. This isn't something that GOA is asking them to do. So, hey, look at us. They would get an injunction for the entire country if they could, but it's going to take other legal action.
They asked for.
Right. They do ask for it, but the courts.
Yep, they did ask for that. Yep. So let me show you a few of the things here from the actual court proceedings, Tim, because this will answer a lot of the questions, but it'll also give you an idea of where the court sits on this. I think you'll like it. All right, so this is number 9, Dr. Slides. This is just the overall introduction sheet to the actual ruling. This is for the district court from Northern District of Texas. Let me see here. What I want to show here, accordingly, right in the middle, accordingly, defendants are hereby temporarily restrained from enforcing the regulations of definition of engaged in the business as a dealer in firearms. Now, the reason that I wanted to hit this real quick, Tim, is there's 2 or 3 ways that this is being referred to in the gun world right now. There's the universal background checks. There's the background checks to buy a gun kind of verbiage. And then there's the who's engaged in the business, dealer of a business, like if you sell a gun. What this rule is, just to be clear, this is the rule that the ATF put out. That was if you sell a gun or you've kept a gun for less than 30 days or if it's still in the box or still in the plastic or brand new, or you turned a profit, you're now a dealer. That's what this is.
Even 1 cent. If you so much as made 1 cent profit, you're now dealing without a license.
Right. But I think it's important to really fine tune the message because I'm seeing 3 or 4 different ways to reference this. If you're talking about the actual rule, it's the engaged in business rule. This is the one that makes you a dealer. Okay. So yes, it includes background checks, but I think this is a pretty important way to frame it. Now, here's the actual organizations, Tim, who are being basically protected from this final rule. All right. This kind of goes to your point. This is number 10, Doc. 4 states, a handful of organizations, and an individual citizen argue that the final rule violates the APA and the U.S. Constitution. In their view, the final rule is arbitrary and capricious, in excess of ATF's lawful authority, check, check, an abuse of ATF's discretion, check, in contravention to the BSCA, which is the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and violative of the 2nd and 4th Amendments. Now, what I love about this is, Tim, they flat out said, yeah, you did it wrong with the rules. And, oh, by the way, you also violated the Constitution. This judge didn't even get to the Constitution, Tim. We're about to walk through it. He only got to the rules.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it across the board. So let me show you which states, because I mentioned that, which states did not get it, which states did. So remember, the actual organizations that got this coverage from the TRO were GOA, GOF, Texas, one in Tennessee, and one in Virginia. I'm going to list it out here in a second. But the ones that did not, this is why it's partial. So Tim, I think we have to say this part really clearly. Plaintiffs Louisiana, Mississippi, and Utah failed to demonstrate standing. So those 3 states did not get protection under this TRO. Only Texas as a state, and then these activist organizations.
Right, but if you're a GOA member in Louisiana, Mississippi, Utah, you're still covered under this injunction, just so you know. Right.
Exactly right.
So I just want to say something really quick before I forget. So this is really interesting because we've seen this play out time and time again, from the braces and bump stocks to this. So when these organizations go in and fight to get these court cases at least stayed or an injunction in place, those typically those organizations, their members are covered in the injunction. That's just the way the system works. And so one of the reasons when we're going through this turbulent time that it makes sense to be an FPC member, a GOA member, all these organizations members, is because when they go in and fight these battles as a member of those organizations, you will get protected under those decisions, and you're helping to fund outstanding organizations that are actively fighting for your rights. So it's a win-win. Anyway,
you just said it. No, dude, you just nailed it perfectly. So the ultimate irony of all of this, because, when you're fighting gun controllers, you have to be used to seeing a good bit of irony and hypocrisy. In this case, irony, because all the rules that they put forward through the executive bureaucratic state, they've been smoked by so many grassroots organizations, not the NRA. And effectively, when each one of these organizations wins, they have a boost and a bolstering of their financial support because the people are saying, hey, you won. Here's my membership dues. I mean, and then that's only fueling more of them. Like literally, when we talk about fighting from where we are and going forward, this is a whole new playing field. Tim, nothing like this has ever existed in the gun world, where you had multiple grassroots competing for the best lawsuit in order to get the best outcome for their members, which would then bolster their memberships.
Right.
This has never happened.
And I want to address something else because I actually heard this at the convention this week. It's people have this misconception that these organizations like GOA and FPC and stuff are these massive organizations with hundreds of millions of dollars at their fingertips, and that's not the case. Okay, so we were talking about the Colorado and the fact that Colorado just beat back their assault weapons ban, and people were saying, well, no thanks to GOA. Okay, look, we have 50 states. GOA is a national gun rights organization. Their primary mission is to fight legislation at the federal level. They're lobbyists. There are no other organizations that have 5 lobbyists on the ground 24/7 in DC. Not the NRA, nobody else, not FPC. That's GOA. They are intended to fight at the federal level. Well, the gun grabbers have switched tactics, and now they're trying to push all these fights down to the states level. And so organizations like GOA need more money, and they need to be able to build more organizations within each of these states to fight each of those initiatives. Okay. So the only way a GOA or an FPC or something like that can fight in all 50 states is to increase their funding, because they want to, and they're trying to, but they're spending all of their money fighting the cases that they can. So they kind of have to pick and choose based on just simple finances. So
it's strategy.
Well, but it's a strategy for success based upon what resources they have at their disposal. So please be careful about deriding these organizations, saying, well, they didn't do anything in my state because, we had a sheriff that took my permit away. They're not really structured for that. They don't have the resources for that yet. Well, that's up to you.
It's different tools.
Right. That's up to you.
It's different tools for different jobs.
You fund them, they may be able to do it for you. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, but that's a very good point. But what we're seeing here, and this is where I start to get a really huge economics crush, because I love economics. You're starting to see the grassroots tools be established for each fight that we have ready to go. Like FPC, for example, they're suing the ATF at a federal level really heavily. They're going after them pretty hard on the federal level, but they're also doing some state level stuff. They've kind of diverted in their attention, right? GOA is really solid at the national federal level. Right. Second Amendment Foundation is really good at the state level. Right. I mean, there's lots of organizations that are kind of all finding their own niche. And what we're seeing is the grassroots of basically effectiveness of building economies that will support our rights in the future by the support of the viewers, right? I mean, like it's bypassing Congress effectively and saying, you guys aren't doing crap. So what we're going to do is form our own systems and protect ourselves. And then you'll just come to heel because we have the power. That's effectively what's happening.
Right.
And I love it.
Yep. And seriously, join as many of the organizations as you can. It's really affordable insurance to fight for your rights. I mean, you have automobile insurance, homeowners insurance, you have life insurance, and yet you don't want to spend $100 a year just being a member of the various organizations. Me for GOA, I donate every month, right? And I'm a member of other organizations as well. So just join as many as you possibly can, because like you said, they're all fighting their niche, right? The GOA is really effective at the federal level. SAF FPC is really effective at the state level. Fund them all. It's very affordable insurance for your Second Amendment rights. Okay.
Yeah, and they don't even know the gun controls don't even know what's coming. I mean, they have fueled this infrastructure that they don't even see yet, and I'm here for it.
They're still focused on the NRA, who's too busy licking its wounds to do anything. Hell, its recent convention was dead. Nobody was there.
It was pretty dead. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was pretty dead.
Yeah.
All right, so listen to this, Tim. This is the kind of stuff that puts me to sleep tonight. It just makes me with a smile on my face. I'm just good. This is number 13. Plaintiffs are substantially likely to prevail on the merits. The final rule likely violates the APA. And my favorite part about this whole thing, before I get to the conclusion, quote, for the foregoing reasons, plaintiffs are substantially likely to succeed on the merits of their APA claims. As such, further analysis of their other claims, including their constitutional ones, is unnecessary at this time.
We have all we needed the first claim. We got the others just in case.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, we don't even need to get to the constitutional ones yet. You're so screwed right here on the APA, which ironically is the same thing they got smoked on in the ghost gun rule, the same thing they got smoked on the pistol brace rule. It's where they keep on getting smoked. They can't even get to the constitutional one.
The gun grab.
I mean, it is literally procedural.
The gun grabbers ought to have this phrase, plaintiffs are substantially likely to prevail on its merits. They should have this framed and hung in their offices, because this is a phrase that is used over and over and over again in the federal courts as of late when hearing these moronic cases brought by the gun grabbers and the actions of the ATF. So it's awesome to see that they just keep saying this, like, you're going to lose. Losers.
Sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah.
Sounds oddly familiar.
Not the first time.
Yeah, well, not the first time. In fact, like the 400th time we've heard that one in the past 3 years. Well, here's the conclusion, and here's the actual states. Listen to how they wrote this up, okay? Then we'll wrap this bad boy. Conclusion. Defendants are temporarily restrained, and the defendants would be the ATF, the DOJ, from enforcing the regulations, definition of engaged in business as a dealer in firearms. Against plaintiffs, Texas, Jeffrey Torney, who's the civilian, the Gun Owners of America Incorporated, the Gun Owners Foundation, the Tennessee Firearms Association, and the Virginia Citizens Defense League through June 2nd of 2024. Plaintiffs, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Utah are excluded from the relief granted herein. It came out May 19th. There's the signature. So, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wanted to talk about the standing issue, right? So they're talking about these states didn't have standing. What that means is they didn't have a case that they didn't have a party that was damaged by the ATF's rule change just yet, right? This goes back to things we've talked about in the past, where these states are passing these laws and people are suing, saying, hey, you can't do this. This is unconstitutional. The state goes, whoa, we haven't really charged anybody yet, so we're just going to sit on this one. So that's what's happening here. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. That's a great add-in. But in tying this out, we've shown you the organizations. We've shown you what they said. We've shown you the likelihood of the merits. The piece that we really have to hit right now is the June 2nd, 2024. So that's about a little less than 2 weeks from right now. So this is something else that we've seen a lot, Tim, with a lot of the other infringements they put forward from the ATF. They always got temporary restraining orders to be addressed later, and then they became permanent.
Right.
In most cases, some of them got denied, but in most cases, they all became permanent injunctions.
Yep. You take a look at the bump stocks, right? ATF has made no moves. They're just letting it happen in the states that are covered in the injunction.
Correct. Because the SCOTUS has already heard it, so they can't do anything, right? But effectively, where it sits right now is we will find out more, probably the way these judges roll, probably on June 2nd or June 1st at 11:59, they'll come out with a new ruling. That's just the way they've rolled recently. Right. But for now, June 2nd.
We'll see. All right, we'll follow it. Any changes, updates, more news we'll bring to you guys in a future episode. Thank you for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.